Welcome back, everyone, to Data Science for Everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about the command line interface. Let's get started. So, to kind of start out today, I want to kind of just delve into some specifics about some command lines that we use periodically on the channel. And it's something that I think a lot of you can benefit from. So, there's what the command line does, particularly Unix. So, that's stuff that is now actually on every computer in the world. Can help with scripting and command line operations, and it's powerful in ways to navigate file systems, manipulate files, and even automate tasks. So we're going to do this actually from Visual Studio Code here. So if you hit, I believe it's Command P or Control P for those of you using Windows, you can have this nice file search application here, and you can do something like terminal to search for it. Or, but what I prefer is to hit Command, whoops, or Option. Is it Option or Command? Here, let's actually look at it. We can do it this way. You can go up here and hit Terminal and do New Terminal. So for those of you who are on Mac, it would be the special command here is Command Shift, and that's a backtick. So I'll just click it here. You can see that this opens up the terminal down here in the bottom. I'm going to clear it out. And again, here, mine says base, but for you, it may say something else. I have a tendency to use oh my zhush. So it may look a little bit different, but again, everything in here should be what you should have been kind of seen in some of our other videos. So the first thing that I kind of want to go through, I'm going to only go through maybe 6 or 7, maybe even 8 different little code snippets here so that you can kind of just get the idea of what we can do with it. So the first thing we may want to do is use echo. Now, echo, we use this to print out text to the terminal and to basically maybe use messages or even variables. So we can do something like echo hello class. And it echoes out, whoops, I need an end quote there. Okay, hello class. So, and I can, maybe let me clear this and we'll do this again. So I can do echo, hello class. And again, it'll have that hello class. Again, it was actually expecting, the reason that we had that D quote there is because it was actually expecting to have single quotes in that instance. So let's try another one here. We can do something like date. So notice that puts out the date. All right. Now, what is interesting with this is that we can do our echo and do something like today's date is, and we can do $, do date. Oops. And it says, today's date is Monday, February 19th at 10:20:03 Eastern Standard Time, 2024. Okay, and so this is just a nice, quick little usage that you can do there. Now, the next thing that we have is the change directory. Okay, so that's CD. Now, we use this to change our current directory. And we would usually do this to some path. So we could do something like, if I hit, what I did here, let me clear this again. If I hit CD and I do DO and I hit tab, it should give me choices between things that start with DO. So I have documents and I have downloads. Now I could also do something like CDD and hit tab, and notice I have desktop, downloads, and documents as well. So I'm going to change my directory to the desktop. Okay, so now I can go into that desktop, and what you would usually do when you do CD, you do something like path to some directory, okay, and that would tell you where you're wanting to put it. So again, you could do something like documents, some folder, and then you would be inside of that folder. Or you can just do a normal CD by itself to move back up to your base document, where you can hit Another powerful thing is called a present working directory, so PWD. And that tells you where you're working at. So again, here you are users and Markham reads. So if I change this back to CD desktop and I do PWD, notice now I'm in users, Markham, desktop. Now, for those of you that are using Windows or something of the sort, your directory trees are going to look a little bit differently. So, for example, you guys may be doing something and it may look like this, okay? You would have C colon backslash users backslash user, okay? So it's going to be just a little bit different. But again, all of these should start working the same, regardless of what you are using. Now, another useful thing besides this is the ls or the list. So I am currently, so let me clear this. I am currently in my desktop, and if I hit ls, and here, notice I have on my desktop 2 files. Okay, so ES6 modules example and switch statements. So if I go over here, you can actually see I have both of these inside there. All right, now let me actually just make up a new folder, and I'm going to leave it called untitled folder. And if I go here and I do ls again, notice I now have a new untitled folder there. Now, this is nice because, again, I updated and I don't have to leave here technically to do any of this. Now, what's another thing is that if I do, let's do CDES 6, and so now I'm going inside of that particular folder. And if I hit ls, notice I have inside here an index.html and JS. Well, I can also add in something for doing a long listing format. So I can do ls-l, and notice I get a little bit of extra information about each of these. It's not necessary, but it's also kind of more of a list format and maybe a little bit more useful to you. So we can also go inside of JS and we can do our list again. And notice here we have an index.js and a lib.js. So we can get all kinds of information. Now, another thing, I'll go back up. And if I do this to my whole library, okay, so I'm in my base directory, you can see that it's massive. All right, well, again, you can get all kinds of information. But another thing that you can do is do ls desktop, and let's do ES6 and JS. So I don't actually want to change my directory currently. I just want to look inside that JavaScript folder, that JS folder, inside of this ES6 modules example, and it tells me what that information is. So it allows me to look inside of files without actually having to do a lot of moving around on my desktop. I don't have to do a lot of clicking. I can already have a file open here, and it's very useful. So let's do another example here. I'm going to go back to my desktop, and here we see that I have ES6 modules example, I have switch statements, and I have that untitled folder. Now let's say that I want to make a new folder, okay? Well, I don't actually have to go over here, and I don't have to right click, and I don't have to click new folder and then type it in. Okay, I'm actually going to delete this one because I don't like it there. And we'll do ls again. We can see that there's only 2. So now we can make a directory by using the mkdir, and then we can say something like, let's make up a new folder. Just new folder. And this makes up a new folder here, okay? That's inside of that directory. Now I can also make another one, so I can put it in, make another folder inside of this one. And so we can say make dir new folder, another folder. And so we can look. Now we have that new folder, and we can do ls new folder. And notice there's another folder inside. So you can do this without actually having to do anything very difficult. Now, in theory, we should also be able to make a directory and say a new folder, another new folder, even more folders. Okay. And notice here, it actually has this no such file or directory, because the issue is that we actually need to already have one file created. It doesn't want to make a bunch of new folders directly from there, okay? So you need to maybe make them one at a time. Now, there are ways to populate up a bunch of different folders, but that's kind of beyond the scope of what we want to do today. I just want you guys to have the basics of what's going on. So if we look at our desktop, we have a new folder, okay? And again, notice that it is empty all the way down. Now, you'll be thinking, well, that's great, but maybe I want to create up a folder that actually is populated with some other information. Well, we can do that as well. So let's actually, oops, we want to remove that folder. Okay, and if you notice here that rm-r removes the directory and it removed all the contents. This is permanent, so please be careful. Okay, that's the remove option. Now let's go on and do this like we're doing up an example. Okay, so like what we would do in our other videos. So let's make a directory and let's call this directory new project. Okay. So now we have our new project. Let's go inside of the new project. And notice that project is empty. Now we want to create up, let's say, 2 files. Okay, so I want to touch, and I'm going to say new file.txt. Okay, so that is now a new file. And we could open this up and it would be a blank text file. All right, that's fantastic. So if we went here and I want to maybe open up a folder here, let's go to desktop and we'll open up our new project just so that we can watch it kind of in real time here. Notice we have a new file, and if we open it, notice it is completely empty. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is to open up our terminal again. All right, and again here it's going to open up a new one. We are now inside of our new project, and I'm going to squeeze this down just so you can kind of see what happens here. Now notice we have been working with JavaScript recently, so let's go on and do touch index.html, and we want to also have a script.js. Notice here I put index.html and I have script.js. So I put 2 files at the same time. Now they will make 2 new files. And notice they are now index.html and script.js. And this is a lot faster and cleaner to actually than actually going up and doing file, new, anything else. And again, later on, you could just do something like open jscript.js, open it, and it'll open up for us. So you don't even need to really take your hand off of the terminal if you don't want to. And notice, and again, you can notice here that they are currently empty and ready for you to populate it with code. So now let's go on and make a directory, and we'll call this JS for our JavaScript scripts. And let's also, now we actually are, if you look here, we have, if I clear this and do ls, now you can see here we have the JavaScript folder, we have our index, some new file, and our javascript.js script. Okay, well, and we have the same thing here. Now, what if I wanted to move this script? Okay, well, I can do mv, okay, and then I want this script, and I want to move it to JS file, and I do this. Notice it disappears, but it is now inside of that JS. So what this does, you have mv, and you have your source, and then you have your destination where you want to move it. Now, there is a fantastic little trick using move, you can also use move to change file names. So notice this one is new file.txt. I don't want to technically move it. I'm going to move it to the same file, but I'm going to rename it. So I want new file.txt and say renamed file.txt. Notice its destination, I'm moving it, but its new destination now is technically just this new file. And if I hit enter, it just renames the file. Okay, and just a proof of concept here, I can say, here is some text. Okay, I'm going to save that file. And now I'm going to move the renamed file and I'm going to say another file.txt. And notice here, you see that it marked out here because it technically deleted that file and it put it into another file. Now, if I click on this, notice here is some text. It is the same file. Okay, so all it has done is kind of copied it over. Now, another useful thing to do is to be able to actually copy a file. Okay, so let's move up. And so if you see here, I did cd ... and that tells you to move up one folder in the directory. And so now we have a desktop. Okay, so we can use the copy function. So we can do cp and we can copy up a file, we can copy up a folder, we can do anything. So let's do new project, and I'm going to keep it on the desktop and say another new project. Oh, and it had here, new project is a directory not copied. So let me talk about how we can actually copy a whole folder. And so just as we had with that remove, okay, you saw I use this option here called R, and that's to basically kind of be recursive, so it wants to go down inside. You can now use the cp-r, and again, we can do new project, our new project file, or a folder or directory, and another new, project, and it should copy now. So if you look here, we have another new project. And if I look at this, if we do cd, another new project, and we look inside, it has another file, index file, and that JS, you can see here it has that JavaScript file. So what is nice now is that you can create up a nice template folder. So we are creating up a lot of new projects in JavaScript over the next couple of weeks. And so you can create up something that's called, maybe, let's just do cd. You can create up a template folder. Okay, you can go inside said template folder. You can touch an index.html. You can, we can also touch a script.js. We can make a directory here called JS for our JavaScript files. We can move our JavaScript file to the JS folder. And now you have in here a very basic JavaScript project template. And again, you can fill this in with your index.html with all of the template code that you normally use, and etc. So again, I hope you guys like this video, and if you do like it, please comment, subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.